Hi, and thanks for joining us for another one of Family Marine's videos. My name's Tom. In this video, we're going to talk about how to operate sea legs. Now, we have a pontoon in our shop that we've hoisted up on the sea legs, and what I'm going to do is walk through and show you some pointers to watch for and how to operate them, and a couple of possible issues that if I talk about them in this video, you'll know what it is if it ever happens to you. So, first thing, as I said, we got this one up on the sea legs. Now, you'll notice that the sea legs here in the shop, we have the legs perfectly straight up and down. Now, I often get asked, how should I store my pontoon on sea legs? If you think about this, right now with the legs perfectly straight up and down, the boat is at its highest center of gravity, and therefore it's more tippy at its highest center of gravity than it is if it was lower to the ground. So, my point is when you go to store your boat on sea legs, if it's possible to pull your boat closer to the shore where it's more shallow and have those legs at, say, a 45-degree angle to the ground rather than a 90-degree angle, your center of gravity is lower and it's less likely to tip over in straight line winds or a heavy storm. So, again, yeah, if we can pull a little bit closer to the shore and put the legs at a 45-degree angle. Now, this is the remote control for the sea legs. And I want to run through this because sometimes the buttons get a little confusing to people. First of all, we have a power button, and you push the button and the red light will come on and then go off. Then we have a boat up and a boat down. Now, these buttons run both legs simultaneously. So as I push one of these two buttons, the front legs will go up or the front legs will go down. Then we have the front legs only and the rear legs only. And again, you have your up and down buttons. Now, when you think about these up and down buttons, you have to think about what you want the boat to do. Don't think about what the sea legs are doing, think about what you want the boat to do. I want the boat to go up, which means the sea legs are going to go down. But if you push the boat up button, the boat will lift up out of the water. If you push the boat down button, the boat will go down into the water. If you push the front up, the front end will come up, or rear up, the rear will go up or down. Now, it's pretty normal that if you're on the beach and you go to lift your boat up on sea legs, that the front comes up sooner than the rear. A couple of reasons for that. Number one, it's obviously shallower up towards the front, so the front set of legs are going to hit the bottom of the lake sooner than the rear set of legs will. And the rear of the boat is heavier because that's where the motor is at. Okay? So it's pretty normal for a pontoon to start lifting up out of the water like this, and you go, oh my God, what's wrong? Well, that's normal. What you do is you stop and hit the rear up button, level the boat off, and go back to boat up. That's again both legs, and continue. And maybe the front end still continues to come up sooner than the rear. Again, stop and go to rear up, all right, till you get to a point which seems to be about halfway, and then the legs seem to come up more simultaneously or evenly than what they do in the beginning stages of lifting the boat up out of the water. So, pretty much in a nutshell, that's how you lift and store a pontoon on sea legs. We're going to get inside in just a minute, but before we do that, what I want to do is I want to lower this boat down, and I want to show you a couple things with the pads. Before we lower it down, Corey, if you could get in here a little bit closer, and you see how the pads, they have the flat pad on the front and the flat pad on the back and then the round pipe in the center. Now, the front and rear pads swivel on the round pipe. And here's what happens. Right now, the pads are like this, sitting on the bottom of the lake. And as you lift the boat up, the pads are designed to swivel so that the pads store flat when the boat, or when the legs are all the way up. So as it goes down, the pads hit the bottom of the lake, and as it goes up, it stores flat. what can happen in that gap in there is it gets rocks in there. And then what ends up happening is the pads will come up like this. And it'll act like a big water plow because it's not swiveling like it's supposed to. So that means you got to get down in there, you got to clean those rocks out of there. We've had a number of people call and say, Tom, there's something wrong with my motor. It's just chugging along and it's puking and it just doesn't sound right and it's gurgling and I can only get like 7 miles an hour out of it. Something's definitely wrong with my motor. Well, if we know that you have sea legs, the first thing we tell you is lay on the bow deck of the boat and look underneath the pontoon and see if the pads are like this, if they're stuck. And so often they are. This is a very common issue with sea legs. Okay? They have to swivel. Those pads have to lay flat underneath the deck of the pontoon. If they're like that, it'll cause cavitation for the propeller. It's water mixed with air, and the boat is just not going to run. That pad acts like a big water plow. It's just literally plowing right through the water. Okay, so that's a real issue that we have to be aware of with sea legs. Now, what I'll do is I'll lower this down, and I'll show you how those pads swivel. As I'm lowering it down, again, what's going to happen, because the back is heavier, the back is going to start to go down sooner than the front. You can start to see that a little bit right in here. Right there, you can start to see the rear end go down a little bit sooner. So again, we stop and we go front down. That's just the front set of legs. Level it off, and then we go back to boat down. Okay, now, here's those swivel pads. You can see how that, if we got rocks stuck in there and that pad goes up and hits the bottom of the deck, particularly the rear set of legs is going to act like a big water plow. So therefore, we got to get in there and clean those rocks out. I've had them stuck in there so bad, I've had to take a hammer and a chisel and break the rocks apart in order to get those rocks unwedged from those swivel pads. But like I say, those swivel pads have to come up. Okay, here is a typical pump installation. We put them in the same compartment as the battery because we want to save as much room as we can in the other storage compartments for your belongings. And it is kind of tight in there, and if we ever had to do any service work on it, yes, we'd have to pull the battery first, but that's okay. The reason I wanted to show you this is on the pump is a circuit breaker. It's a 70 amp circuit breaker, and if you'll notice this little yellow bar right there, see how it pops out like that? Now the circuit breaker is off. We cannot operate the pump. We have to flip this circuit breaker back into position. So what happens is if you overheat, if you run your legs too much in one cycle, you can pop that 70 amp circuit breaker. So my point is that you're running your pump with your remote control and all of a sudden it stops. The red light is still on, but nothing happens on these switches on the remote control. That's an indication that you've popped this 70 amp circuit breaker. So you just come back here and flip that little yellow bar. Sometimes you might have to wait 5 or 10 or 15 minutes for this thing to cool down in order so that will stay shut like it is. If this thing gets too hot, circuit breaker pops, 10, 15 minutes, wait, and it'll go back in. Okay, also down in here are some remote control switches. If you were to lose your remote control, you have two switches down in here. Okay, one for the front set of legs and one for the rear set of legs. And again, we have boat up, boat down, boat up, boat down. So you can operate your sea legs from these switches. If your batteries go dead in your remote, by the way, I suggest that you change these once a year, or you lose this, or it gets wet. This is not a waterproof remote control. They call it water resistant. Yeah, right. Okay, so that's what those switches are for. Any other issues with sea legs, I can tell you that you're going to have to call us. Sometimes we have this switch down here is called a Tram Bellows switch. We've seen those go bad, but that's pretty rare, pretty darn rare. Maybe one a year I might see go bad on, say, an older unit. We don't have much of a problem with those anymore. Okay, so any more information on sea legs, I'd be happy to help you out. Just give us a call. Give Tom or Corey a call. Thanks for watching. Thanks so much for watching. If you're considering buying a fishing boat or a pontoon, here's some easy ways to reach Family Marine. Call us to set up a private showing of any of the 50-plus boats currently in stock. Attend one of our boat shows on the second Saturday of every month. Of course, the best way is to simply stop in our store. Family Marine is located 3 miles north of Willmar on Highway 71. Willmar, of course, is located 70 miles west of Minneapolis on Highway 12. Visit our website at familymarineboats.com for more boat previews and check out our Buyers Resource Center packed with educational videos for boat buyers. You can see Family Marine on Facebook, YouTube, or simply email or call us with any questions you may have. If you've enjoyed these videos, please like and comment below. Thanks again for watching.